Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to PDYN Youth Leadership Live.
Yes.
I'm Korinne.
And I'm Maria.
We're excited to be with you guys this week. We have had a very full weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
We
just finished PK-MK
Yes.
retreat yesterday.
It was so fun, and I love PK-MK. It's one of my favorite events ever. We had PDYN worship with us.
Yep.
They're amazing.
And we had Tori Hammer with us this weekend also. So she's a former PK alum. So she was back speaking this weekend.
Exactly. She is currently serving at Elevation as their college age and rhythm pastor, which is like over their worship team for their youth. So really awesome to have her speaking into the lives of our pastors' kids, missionary kids, and evangelist kids.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was really, really sweet. Love it. It's like a big youth group. They all get to come together.
Yeah.
So I'm sure some of you had your kids there, and we just love to get to know them.
It was awesome.
It was really,
so
really
fun.
cool. Yeah. So so we obviously did the same thing this weekend.
That was our weekend.
Hope you guys had a great weekend, great Monday, and we have a couple things to talk about today that we're excited about. The first thing, we haven't talked about it on here yet.
Yes.
We have some exclusive new info about the AG Youth Next Gen Conference.
Yes.
Youth and kids.
Yes.
Next Gen, if you will. So that is coming up in 2024. But we are ahead of the game here.
Yes. It'll be next March. However, there is a deadline for early registration tickets. And the deadline to register for that early rate for Next Gen 2024 is April 30th.
Wow.
So
they're really far ahead.
Yeah. So if you want to get the cheapest price possible, you want to make sure that you're registered for Next Gen by April 30th.
And what that looks like is actually, it's a group rate. So what you want to do is confirm with us that you want to go a whole year from now. Because if we get 10 people or more by April 30th, the tickets are $99 a piece.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good discount.
Yeah.
And it just continues to climb as we get closer to next year. So if you want to go to Next Gen with us, and the whole team, register by April 30th by contacting Maria via email. That would be the very best. What's your email, Maria?
My email is malbanese@penndel.org.
And we could put that in the chat.
I'm like, it's a lot of letters, and I don't know if I should spell it out. But.
That could also be found on penndelyouth.com/about. So that's our newest info.
And Next Gen, they're not having a Next Gen conference this year. They're having it every other year. So basically on the even years is when they're having Next Gen. Because I know some of you had questions about Next Gen this March. And I was like, nope, it's not happening in 2023. So
2024.
It'll be back
register now.
Yeah.
Yes. As you guys are hopefully well aware, our summer camps are all completely sold out. There are already full waiting lists for any dropout spots that come available. So if you did not get to register this year, we are sorry. But we're hoping to add some more opportunities next year. But if you are hyping your group up for camp, etc., our media kit is online at penndelyouth.com/camp, and there'll be more and more things coming into that media kit, so keep checking. But it's not all in there yet, but it's coming.
And also like the event release forms, archery tag waivers. I know we'll have the schedules coming soon, so you need anything for camp, any sort of resources and things, like she's saying, the media kit, go ahead and check out penndelyouth.com/camp.
Yes. So. We are excited. Fine Arts is 2 weeks away.
Yes.
2 tiny little weeks.
Yes.
And I know there's been a lot of questions coming in with the same question. The big question. And we have the one answer. And that is that the schedule will be released 1 week before the festival. So that would be the Wednesday before.
Next Wednesday, right?
Wow.
It's 2 weeks
crazy.
away.
Yes. Next Wednesday.
The schedule will be posted.
Yes. We are actually going to work on that this week with Rosina and her team out in Pittsburgh. So It's coming. It is coming. Hey, if you know anyone that would be a great evaluator, we still have a couple spots we need to be filled. So reach out to Rosina finearts@penndel.org and send us that info or send it to one of us. We'd love to get all those spots filled with qualified evaluators that can continue to sow into this generation. So we're excited about that.
Yep. And then right after Fine Arts is Spirit Tour.
Spirit Tour Church Nights.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally free. We want to see you there. We want your kids, your students to be bringing their unsaved friends. Yeah. Or their saved friends, whatever. We want the house packed. Yeah. Because we know that this will be an impactful, powerful event at every single location.
And we have 6 locations this year. So if you need to know where we're going, again, you can check penndelyouth.com. You can see all our dates, locations,
all of that stuff. And we also have the media kit on there. And I just wanted to remind you that we have some templates on there for invite cards. If you want your students to be inviting their friends, those are available that you can add your own info to those. So everything that you should need is on there.
And also info for the big give, which we'll be collecting at each location also.
Yes. Excited about that. Yes. So, woo!
We're just going through it.
I know. Last but not least, guys, convention is coming. It's in October this year. You guys should be receiving a mailer soon with some info in that about convention, and also brand new. We have a newsletter.
Yes, the newsletter.
That is coming to you. We're really excited about this newsletter. It's going to be coming in the summit mailing. So if you don't get your hands on it, ask your church admin or whoever gets the mail. But it's going to have all of our info, like testimonies about what just happened at previous events and in previous ministries. And then also info about upcoming stuff.
So it'll be a quarterly newsletter. So you'll get 4 a year. And like she said, it'll kind of recap things that have just happened and kind of announcing things that are upcoming. So we'll be mailing them to every church. And like she said, this one will be coming in the summit mailer. After that, they'll kind of be their own individually mailed things. So
individually mailed, All right. Hey, we have some huge congratulations to give today.
Yes, we do.
We're excited. Our very own Youth Alive missionary, Mike Kubis, and his wife Rachel just welcomed a little baby boy into the family. Welcome, Jaron.
Yes, and then also our youth pastor at New Life in Lancaster, and he's also our sectional rep for South Central East. Jake and Kimmy Kelly, they had a baby girl, Galilee.
So welcome to the newest generation of PDYN.
We got so many babies. We had a couple babies last week.
I know,
too, didn't we?
A couple weeks. It's baby central over here.
For real.
So yeah, we're really excited, and we love you guys. So excited for you. James Powell says, "What's up, Penndel Youth fam? Man, there's a lot going down
for real."
And we're so excited that you're joining us on the live today. Hey, we're gonna transition into a conversation that Pastor Joe had with Tori, Pastor Tori, this last weekend at PK. I don't know about you, I loved having her. She was phenomenal.
She was great.
We're gonna head over to that video starting in 3, 2, 1.
Hey friends, I am here with good friend Pastor Tori Hammer. She comes from North Carolina. She's a local to Central PA. So we're excited to have you with us and share with us this afternoon. So Pastor Tori, where did you get your start in ministry?
I love it. I'm so excited to be with all of you guys. Penndel, this is a really special district to me. So I'm from Penndel, grew up here. My parents pastored a church here. And so when I graduated high school, I went to Southeastern University, studied ministry. And the very first thing I did after college is I moved up to the Philadelphia area and went to a small church my aunt and uncle pastored in a college town. And they asked me to help them start a college ministry for their church. And so that was the first thing I did. It was it was so much different than I'd expected. I came from a university where we would put something on Instagram, plan an event, and hundreds of kids would show up. And so my very first event I ever did outside of school in ministry, I planned for this entire summer type event thing, and I had 4 people show up.
Man.
1, 2, 3, 4 people show up, and I have never been more devastated in my whole life. And in that moment, I was like, oh, wait, this is so different than what I thought it was going to be. And so it was like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board, figure out what to do, how to reach college students.
Yeah.
And so it's a
like,
great journey.
And so I know some people might think like, how long ago? That wasn't like last year, right? Like how long ago was that?
That was back in 2015, I guess.
So 2015.
What is that? 8 years ago? That's kind of crazy.
That's crazy. So 2015, you started on this journey of like developing some kind of college ministry.
Yep.
And honestly, Pastor Tori, like the reality is, I think even us watching, like we are youth pastors, like teaching high schoolers and discipling them. But that big question is like, after high school, what happens, right? So now it's 2015, and like I feel like we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I've heard of your story, like Philadelphia 2015, and then you had other positions and things like that, and then now not too long ago, you're now what? You're in North Carolina, and you've been asked to do what?
Start a college ministry.
Like all from scratch again.
Yeah.
So what is one of like the challenges? Like you said, you developed something, and then four people came out. And I know there's youth pastors watching. They're probably been tasked like maybe a next gen pastor and trying to figure out what do we do after that. So what is something that you can share with us today?
I love
to
that.
help us like, hey, let's do something.
Yes. What we know statistically and just with different research in Barna and Feed and all the different researchers out there, what we know, and it's not a like new fact, this has been happening for decades. We've been talking about how college students are the number one population of Christians that end up walking away from their faith. In fact, I think that the statistics say that about 80% of kids who grew up in your youth ministry who are going to college have said, okay, I'm still going to serve the Lord when I go to school. So that means 20% have already said, I'm not interested. Wow. But what's actually wild is that in that 80%, only 20% of them will actually stick with their faith, which is a wild number. For those of us who are dedicating our lives to see students come to know Jesus, dedicate their whole lives to them, that's a devastating statistic to hear that kids are walking away from their faith. And so we've started asking the question when it comes to college ministry is what happened? What happens at that drop-off point? Because we know when they go to college, walk away from faith, a lot of students and kids will come back once they have kids. Once they're married and have kids, they'll walk back into the church. But how do we bridge the gap between those two seasons of life? And it's one of those areas that most ministries seem to just kind of move forward or move past. And so college ministry has so much to do with creating a space. If there is a space for college students, that space will be filled. Now, you may have 4 people show up to your first thing, and that's okay because you're starting to create space for them. And I think we can look at what God's been doing. I think right now this season in church, in our culture, it's fascinating to me that there's a huge draw to watch what college students are doing when it comes to how God is moving. I think of things like the revivals that have happened or like sparks of revival that have happened on college campuses. And so I think the world is looking at college students right now. And for all of us in ministry, let's not miss that moment. Let's also look and say, okay, what is it that God is doing in Gen Z that we don't have to like create something for them? We just have to open our hands and say, God, how can we resource them to do what God has called them to do? Sometimes it's going to be Gen Z leading Gen Z, and I think that's amazing. We don't have to be afraid of that. But pioneering something is going to take a lot of trial and error. So even in this season, I'm back to the drawing board of like testing things. Like, let's see how this goes. We just did an event at North Carolina State University, and we weren't sure how it was going to go, but we just started planning and doing what we needed to do. And it was really for us kind of a test run. Like, okay, let's see what sticks. Let's see what happens. And I think we can't be afraid of not just the failure of it, but the trying. Like, let's just try things and see what God can do.
That's good. That's good. And I really think like to not just neglect the ministry that we're doing too, right? I mean, I think many times us in ministry, we think, oh, let's go jump on the next high, moving target or whatever. And it's a challenge because we got to do full-time ministry where we're at and keep everything rolling and then yet pioneering something brand new. So is there a verse that you can share with us that maybe that you help, that you keep drawing back to? Like, this is why I'm going to keep pioneering. This is why I'm going to keep pouring into not just college students, but like the call of God in your life.
That's great. Yes. So it's actually funny. I really believe that college students can be one of the greatest resource to your full-time ministry. Like,
100%.
if you want people that your youth students are going to look up to, find some college students and invest in them, and they'll invest in the in the high schoolers. It really does trickle down so easily. But I always go back to, it's this really obscure verse in Colossians, but my very first season doing college ministry right out of college, I've held on to this verse ever since. And I'm going to get it wrong right now, but I'm just going to paraphrase. There's this verse in Colossians that talks about a guy with a name that starts with the letter E. It's like something, and I don't remember exactly, but it says, I'm sending you this guy who is one of you, to encourage you to preach the gospel, and all of the things that Paul had commanded him to do. And so I always go back to this, like that one phrase, who is one of you. And I think that is one of the most powerful things that we can do as pastors, is to empower those who are peers within their age group to do the ministry that God has called. They're the ones that other kids are listening to. Your high schoolers are going to listen to college students. And so it's that Paul mentality that's like, I'm going to send this guy who is one of you to be the example and to preach the gospel to you. And so I'm investing in this guy.
Solid.
And see what God can do through that ministry.
That's solid. That's
I
gold.
gotta figure out the name of him.
I know we do.
I'm sorry.
We do. But that is gold. Because you can't do it. You can't do it all by yourself. You can't lead youth ministry, young adult ministry, kids ministry, all the multiple hats that we do, and you do every facet. So, man, good word. I'm encouraged. Man, I am so encouraged, Pastor Tori. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming from North Carolina and being part of us. And so thank you all for watching. And we are praying that God bless you this week. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.